No, without a shadow of a doubt.
We continue to show tornadic rotations on radar. You got to go, buddy. You got to really go. And the house shook about 3 times and it exploded.
Welcome to the Wild Weather Special with your hosts, meteorologist Jim Giles, Dick Perot, and James Adelot.
Hello, friends, and thanks for joining us for the Wild Weather Special. I'm Jim Giles. I'm Dick Perot.
And I'm James Adelot.
We have one mission over the next 30 minutes to give you information you need to stay safe when severe weather threatens.
The News on 6 is the place to turn. We have everything at our disposal to warn you first.
A fleet of storm chasers, our storm warn team, satellite technology, live trucks, and over 100 years of combined meteorological experience tracking severe weather.
Tornadoes are a way of life for many who live in Tornado Alley. Each year, dozens of twisters terrorize people across the United States.
Oklahoma is a tornado capital of the country, but thanks to faster warnings and a prepared public, we actually have fewer tornado-related deaths.
Tornadoes can strike anyone, anywhere. A lonely Oklahoma field or a busy, bustling metropolis like this tornado in downtown Nashville.
But no matter where you are, one of the most dangerous places to be during a tornado is in your vehicle.
If you're outside, it's best to take cover in the lowest place possible, like a ditch or culvert.
Still, more and more people seek refuge under an overpass like that Kansas TV crew did 10 years ago. And as you're about to see, that can be a fatal mistake. A Kansas tornado bears down on a TV sports crew.
Lots faster, Greg. Catching us.
And a run for cover finds a turnpike overpass.
Get up under the girders.
There, others, including children, scramble for their lives seconds before the twister hits. And though shaken but safe, research indicates overpasses may be the worst place to hide because tornadoes twisting in the open actually accelerate 25% when funneled under a bridge.
Ordinary little small objects become very, very dangerous when they're getting thrown around at 250 miles an hour.
The huge F5 tornado that hit Oklahoma City in May 1999 claimed some of the more than 40 victims from highway overpasses. A few had even left the safety of their homes to hide under bridges.
There were horribly disfiguring injuries, people who are scarred physically and emotionally for life, and I couldn't fathom being in that location.
I'm guessing, but the winds had to be over 300 miles an hour under this bridge.
Stuart Ernest survived under this overpass ledge, but a woman nearby was blown from the overpass and killed.
I've never stuck my face so hard into concrete as I did that day. It's incredible what you will do to survive.
The only real safe haven is a safe distance. In order to stay safe, plan ahead, be aware of changing weather, and watch KOTV for the latest updates.
Well, most of us scramble for cover when we hear a tornado is coming. Others are drawn to witness nature's fury firsthand.
For them, twisters cast a spell of intrigue. They're called storm chasers, and as you're about to see, their work can be invaluable if it's done by the pros.
Let's go, Craig. Let's go. Listen to the wind. Let's go. Let's go.
It's the thrill of the chase that lures many people out onto the roads during severe weather. But that adrenaline rush can put the novice chaser and others around them in danger. This sports crew learned that firsthand when they started chasing a tornado while covering another story.
It sounded like a freight train. It just passed right on top of us.
Before they knew it, they'd become the chased, not the chasers. At KOTV, we not only have the tools, but an expert staff of storm chasers that can help keep you safe when severe weather strikes. We've teamed up with our sister station, KWTV in Oklahoma City, to bring you the best, most professional storm chasers in Oklahoma. The Storm Warn team knows how to bring home the information you need without putting themselves in a dangerous situation like you just saw. Good storm chasers know the hunt for severe weather starts days before storms erupt.
Usually we begin a day or two in advance, begin forecasting, working with Jim. We try to get all of our equipment put together, check all of our video equipment, our scanners. A lot of us have ham radio scanners, weather radio, as well as GPS units.
We want to make sure we get out there in the field with all the right equipment, and we want to make sure that it's working at all times.
Once our chaser professionals are prepared to track the storms, they hit the road.
The vehicle is the number one tool that we have out in the field. But we try to get out there before the storms develop so we can get an idea of the severe weather situation from the beginning, and we can understand the storms better as we see them develop.
Here's the area of concern.
Once a chaser spots a storm, they go to work, relaying what they see back to the weather center.
It's really, really important that we have a good coordinator that backs us up. Someone that is watching the radar screen, somebody that is constantly on the phone with us telling us where we should go, areas maybe we should stay out of.
The chasers become our witness to the storm, giving us up-to-the-second details that radar just can't provide.
The radars can always see the storms in the mid-levels, but it takes storm chasers out in the field to see the tornado on the ground and report back in that there is danger.
But it takes training and experience to get that job done right and safely.
The News on 6 meteorology staff puts more experience to work during severe weather than any other Tulsa television station.
But along with that experience comes sophisticated forecasting technology.
Up next, we'll show you KOTV's tradition of using the top technology to help you survive the storm. And need to take tornado precautions as that storm moves out towards you.
Keeping you safe with early, accurate warnings. The News on 6, Oklahoma's weather leader. 2 television stations, together covering the big story like no single station can. KOTV, the News on 6, and News 9 in Oklahoma City. It's just one more reason why.
Weather? If so, log on to our website, KOTV.com. Click on live chat. We're hosting a chat room on wild weather right after the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you.
Welcome back to the Wild Weather Special. One of the things that makes KOTV Oklahoma's weather leader is the tools we use.
Advanced Doppler 6 is the centerpiece of our life-saving technology. No other television station's weather radar is more powerful.
Live Advanced Doppler 6 can see 255 different levels of storm intensity, and we can use it to zoom down to street level to see severe weather in your neighborhood. Combined with Pathfinder, Advanced Doppler 6 can track and pinpoint when and where storms will strike.
KOTV was the first television station in Tulsa to bring you Pathfinder. It went online in April 1991. Just 2 days later, this remarkable technology and KOTV were credited with saving lives during the deadly storms that hit Westport, Skiatook, and Oologah.
News on 6 anchor Leanne Taylor went back to Oologah almost 10 years later to look at life after the storm.
You live in Oologah or Talala, you should be taking cover right now.
And on April 26, 1991, the tornado came through. The morning after, people were in shock and disbelief. At Beatty's convenience store, everything was gone.
I knew it was going to be bad because one of the neighbors of my girlfriend's put his arms around me and patted me and says, "Oh, I'm really sorry," because he had made it down here that night. And so I thought, oh, geez, it's worse than I thought. I had a 2-story house back here with 3 bedrooms and stuff. All that was, I mean, things had just kind of lifted up and laid down. But the furniture and stuff like that, it was just totally gone.
The tornado first hit Oologah schools just south of here, then came across, destroying Beatty's convenience store, and then followed Highway 169, right over the railroad tracks and that clump of trees, to a group of homes, one of which was owned by Johnny Bussey.
And when I could look back in the east and during the lightning, and see, I said, "George," I said, "you might as well turn around." I said, "We have nothing to go to." You know, his house was gone, ours was gone, this whole area down through here was gone.
When daylight broke, this is what Johnny and his family found left of their lives.
It's a feeling you can't hardly describe. You know, the loss of everything you own. Fortunately, there was no human lives lost. You know, God was watching us that day is the only thing I can say. Because the people, ironically enough, that elected to stay in their homes, the only room standing was the room they were in.
It was a miracle that no one died in the storm. Johnny and others say the advance notice played a big part.
We was watching Channel 6 at the time, and ironically enough, he said the tornado will hit here at 9:38 in Oologah. When he comes on and tells what time the storm will hit, the clock stopped at the school at 9:38.
The storm at this time as well. You should be under cover. Oologah will get to you at 9:38.
That night, Channel 6 debuted Pathfinder to the world, a new weather tool to help meteorologists plot the time the storms would hit specific areas.
It paid for itself that night. It was, as far as we're concerned, around here.
The Bussies weren't the only ones to lose property in the Oologah tornado. 60 homes were destroyed. 16 trailers, 16 apartments, and 30 barns were leveled. And the Oologah school complex had some $12 million in damages. Today, all is back in order and lives put back together.
16's your change. Thank you very much.
The storm of April 1991 is now just a memory. Talk between folks who lived through the tornado and say now they'll never take anything or anyone for granted.
Of course, now, Pathfinder is just one of the many tools we use to forecast and track severe weather. Rick Wells talked to Dick and James about our latest technology, Viper and Warn.
One of the things that people see if they watch us regularly is we have something called WARN. What is that?
Well, WARN's a wide area radar network that combines 7 local radars around this part of the country where we can get a live look at thunderstorms happening before they've moved into our area.
These are located throughout Oklahoma and Texas, throughout this region, basically, and they give us, again, a look at what's happening right now, because these are live radars, as is ours here at Advanced Doppler 6.
Well, that right now information has got to give you guys an advantage.
So many of the storms really quite often will develop well to our west or southwest. And so we've got access to radars out there so we can see the storms as they're developing and get a pretty good feel for what they have been doing before they get into our radar range.
We can use Pathfinder with any of these WARN radars to get an idea of when those storms might affect our viewing area.
So the folks at home then get a better picture of the whole complex of storms, perhaps.
Well, certainly. The more we know about what's happening right now, the better prepared we're going to be whenever something, really starts popping.
As a viewer sitting at home watching, the whole weather presentation during severe weather, one of the coolest things to look at is this Advanced Viper 6. What does that do?
Viper takes in a lot of information from the most advanced, complex weather radar system available. It boils it down into a 3-dimensional view. We can look at hail, we can look at the possibility of rotating thunderstorms, and the viewers at home can see exactly what's happening.
I think this is particularly nice because you can, once you get the image on there, you can turn that around and move the map as if you were walking around or flying around this particular storm.
Sometimes by giving you a different perspective, you can see a storm better from one angle than you can from another. And by being able to tilt and rotate around like that, then it enables us to see a little bit better and enables us to show our viewers where the greatest threat is.
And when you tell people there's rotation in a particular storm, you can actually show them what you're talking about. Now, how do all of those things, Pathfinder and Stryker and Warn and Advanced Viper 6, how does all of that stuff fit together?
Well, we use each and every one of those tools to try to get a better understanding of what the atmosphere is going to do, what a particular thunderstorm is going to do. If we rely on just one of those tools, we're really not doing our job all the way. That's why it's important to have every tool available, because some of these tools might indicate a better picture of a developing tornado than maybe another radar view.
Well, sure, the more confidence we have in dealing with these storms, and obviously the better we'll be able to translate that information on to people that are watching us at home.
Make no mistake, early warnings along with accurate storm tracking can and do save lives.
But it's what you do with that information that can mean the difference between life and death.
Up next, we'll have tips to help you survive a storm. Plus, we'll look at an increasingly popular way to ride out severe weather, a safe room.
Welcome back. When severe weather strikes, you can trust the News on 6 to be your eye on the storm.
Advanced Doppler 6, our live warnings, and severe weather cut-ins bring you instant information.
Once we tell you about a warning, you may have only minutes to seek shelter.
And as Paul Sorrell and Terry Hood show us, that's why more people than ever before are taking cover in a safe room.
It looks like it's moving north-northeast.
May 3rd, 1999.
Pictures of a tornadic storm air live from Oklahoma City.
The funnel at ground level is now growing.
68 tornadoes swept across Oklahoma that night, leaving 47 people dead. But one home's occupant survived even though her home was destroyed. She was in a safe room, a now famous example for researchers studying ways to keep people safe. In Lubbock at Texas Tech University, the Wind Engineering Research Center is testing home models for wind resistance. The most common test is with a cannon and a 2x4. The center tests walls and entire safe rooms. Their tests prove that most building materials are easily penetrated, while reinforced safe room walls are not. Though it's the wind that so many fear, it's what the wind carries that causes damage and death.
It's the debris, the missiles, that actually do all the destruction.
Larry Tanner is a scientist at Texas Tech.
It's your neighbor's house that gets destroyed that becomes the debris field that destroys your house, and everybody's vulnerable to it.
The strongest tornadoes have winds in excess of 250 miles per hour, which will move a standard 2x4 100 miles per hour. Larger objects like cars and telephone poles move much more slowly. The studies at Texas Tech led to a government standard for safe room construction. Safe rooms can be built inside or out, above or underground. And in new construction, they can be incorporated into the design of the home. This model is made of plywood layers backed by heavy steel.
It blends right into the home, but it provides a great deal of extra safety.
But what do you do if you don't have a safe room? You'll need to find the spot in your home that's most likely to stand up to the storm. If you don't have a basement, go to a ground floor. Never choose an upstairs location. The higher you are, the stronger the tornado's winds. Next, find an interior room. A small closet or bathroom is often the most safe. Small rooms are also less likely to collapse. If you don't have an interior room, choose one that's on the north and east side of the building. Stay near the innermost walls. Tornadoes usually travel from southwest to northeast. Hide under sturdy furniture and try to cover yourself with a blanket or coat. Always wear shoes to avoid broken glass. And make sure you keep a battery-powered radio or TV and a flashlight handy, as well as a cell phone.
But remember, the most important safety tip is to stay calm.
You can get your own copy of the News on 6 Tornado Tips brochure. They're available during business hours at our studios at 3rd and Frankfort in downtown Tulsa, or send us a self-addressed stamped business-size envelope to Tornado Tips, P.O. Box 6, Tulsa 74101.
And don't forget, you can listen to KOTV anytime, rain or shine, at 87.7 on your FM dial.
It was one of Oklahoma's deadliest tornadoes. May 3rd, 1999 is a date many of us will never forget.
Up next, a look back at a dark chapter in the history of Tornado Alley.
Tornadoes come in different colors, sizes, and strengths.
But twisters aren't measured by wind speed. The Fujita or F scale rates tornadoes by the amount of damage they cause.
For example, an F1 tornado causes moderate damage. Roofs are peeled off, windows are broken, and some tree trunks are snapped. Mobile homes can be overturned. Winds can reach up to 112 miles per hour. F1 is the average strength of an Oklahoma tornado.
On the other end of the scale, the F5, which causes the most damage, winds can reach up to 318 miles per hour, lifting homes from their foundations. Concrete structures are damaged, and automobile-sized debris becomes airborne. Trees are completely debarked.
F5 tornadoes are rare, but one ripped through the Sooner State the evening of May 3rd, 1999.
And despite all the sophisticated technology we rely on, Oklahoma's largest outbreak of tornadoes ever left a mark that won't soon be forgotten.
Scott Thompson remembers.
Those whose lives have been destroyed by tornadoes carry themselves in much the same way. There is a hollowness in their hunched shoulders, and their chests are tight and their minds numb. Robert Adamson was feeling that way 2 years ago, standing amidst the worthless scrap that had been his pride, hopefully clutching some tattered shreds that he knew in his heart would just have to be thrown away later, when his senses came back.
Well, I seen it coming. We started getting baseball-sized hail. I looked back over the hill over here, and I could see it coming. So we ran in the house, got in the middle of the house in a small closet, and I heard it hit, and the house shook about 3 times, and that was it. It exploded. Sent me flying, my whole family flying. They found me 100 yards out in the field. I ain't sure where they found the rest of my family, but it completely leveled the house.
Robert Adamson was the first to feel the might of the most powerful tornado in recorded American history, a distinction no one aspires to. Fate picks your small house and your hopes and your dreams and tosses them askelter. That killer storm pulled itself together in a field across from Robert Adamson's place and began its ugly lumber northeastward, and the first place it decided to try out its newfound punch was smack atop the Adamson home. It was cruelly efficient, gaining insight in destruction.
And we have a basement over here. Everybody said, well, why didn't you go in the basement? Well, everything on the back porch wound up in the basement. They said we'd have been dead for sure. So I guess we did the right thing. And there's my car back there I made last payment on last Friday. It's a total loss.
Robert Adamson stood here that day shell-shocked, battered and bloodied, those he loved the most badly injured, everything he owned, everything he had worked for, picked up and in one terrifying instant carried off in that direction by an evil, black, churning wind that had had its way here at Robert Adamson's place. It had other appointments to keep now, in Bridge Creek and in Moore. It had other lives whose paths it was about to cross, to damage and destroy them, and in many cases, to end them.
That twister, here at this isolated crossroads in its infancy, would grow into a killer. It would officially be charged with taking 42 lives. To tally the tears it brought, impossible, since I doubt science has invented a number that large. Piled in the basement where it all began are the remnants of the Adamson family, covered now with 2 years' worth of rust, but still recognizable for what they represent. A home, shattered. And though other creatures have found comfort here, the Adamsons moved on. No one's quite sure where, though surely they must have been hoping to be as far from twisters as is humanly possible. But if we are willing to welcome the beautiful harbingers of another spring, then we must know, too, that spring in these parts can be evil and unforgiving, and quickly wear out its welcome in ways most wicked.
You can learn more about surviving wild weather.
Look for the Jim Giles Wild Wild Weather Show coming to a community near you.
And if you have more questions or concerns about severe weather, log on to our website, KOTV.com. Click on live chat. We're hosting a chat room on wild weather. We'd love to hear from you.
That wraps up our wild weather special.
We want you and your family to stay safe when severe weather strikes.
Remember to stay tuned to KOTV. The News on 6 will always keep you advised.